All right, in today's episode, we sit down with Taylor Grieger and Adam Kaluza, both veterans and founders of Cape Horn Tequila. We're going to share Taylor's story of sailing around Cape Horn, which was documented in a movie called Hell or High Seas. Every bottle of Cape Horn Tequila that these guys sell, some of that money helps fund veteran adventure therapy sessions for PTSD. So they're out there doing a great thing. Let's go. All right, welcome to the North Idaho Experience, a podcast for the people of North Idaho and those who are North Idaho curious. These stories all have a tie to North Idaho. So if you're thinking about making North Idaho your home, give our real estate team a call, text, or email. We are veteran and first responder owned and operated entirely. So love to help you guys out with that if you're thinking of making the move. Today, we've got Adam Kaluza and Taylor Grieger from Cape Horn Tequila. We put this podcast together last minute. They're in town. I think you're in town for some tequila stuff, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, there's a spirit tasting. There's a trade show coming up, SIP Idaho North.
Okay.
It's happening today. It's going to be for about a couple hours, so that's the primary reason we're here for that.
Okay, perfect.
We got here a few days ago. Just been first time in Idaho, hanging around, going to different places, loving it so far.
How do you like it?
It's incredible, dude. It's gorgeous. It honestly reminds me a lot of Patagonia. It's just drastic.
Those are words I've never said before.
You talking about the store?
Tierra del Fuego.
I had this stereotype in my head. I thought I was just going to see potato farms.
Yeah, that's common.
Not what
there
we
are
have
other
here.
stereotypes
No.
that go along with that. But yeah, we hear that a lot. Where are you guys from? You're not from the same place, right? You guys?
No. I am. I'm living in Virginia
Okay.
Beach. After retiring from the military, ended up staying there with my wife. We're going to be there for probably at least another 5-6 years.
Cool.
But yeah, it's a big military community there, and that's kind of where I'll be living for a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Taylor, what about you?
I'm in Tejas,
Oh, shit.
Galveston.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. Are you from there originally? Is this newish?
I'm from Texas. Yeah.
Okay.
I lived.
I can hear it
kinda
now.
all over.
Yeah, I
all
can
over
hear it.
Texas.
A little twang in the
Yeah,
voice,
yeah,
a little Texas twang.
This is pretty fortuitous because Dave and I are like known for. I shouldn't say it like this. Sounds terrible. Known for our whiskey drinking.
Thanks.
Don't take that the wrong way. We talk about whiskey a lot, but we've both been talking about tequila lately, and then you guys pop up on the radar with a veteran-owned tequila company, and now we're interested. So what's the backstory? I want to get into both your backstories because you're both prior military. Give me one first, and then we'll dive into the other, and then we'll figure out how it ties into tequila.
Yeah, I guess my backstory is I ended up joining the military right out of high school. I had a troubled youth. I was getting in a lot of trouble, breaking the law, doing things, and my father gave me an ultimatum. He said, either you go do something with your life, or we're just going to cut ties here. And it turned out to be the best decision.
Pretty common story, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that problem. But did 21 years in the Navy, synced up with Taylor back in 2013-ish. We ended up deploying together. Served for 3.5 years, and just kept in touch after that.
What'd you do in the Navy?
We flew around in helicopters doing search and rescue out of the MH-60 Sierras.
Oh, cool.
I was stationed in many different places. We ended up meeting on Guam, Anderson Air Force Base out there. But as far as being, traveled the world all over, being in the Navy, San Diego. I lived in San Diego, Florida, Pensacola, Panama City Beach, Virginia, Guam, 2 times there. So I spent 6.5 years of my life there.
How do you like cold water?
I hate it, but fortunately they make dry suits. So,
So we're not going to have them cold plunge with us in the winter.
I
Right
know
on.
where I was going with that.
I know.
if that's
yeah.
the thing you guys do, you know, because I have a feeling we will be back. So,
Okay.
Who knows? Never say
Bring a
never.
chainsaw. Sometimes we need it to get in. So
Oh god.
Oh,
dude.
we don't play around. Yeah. We don't play around. Cold water.
Yeah.
For sure.
But, I retired 2.5 years ago in the summer of 2022, and that's when this kind of really started picking up.
Okay.
We first launched just right around COVID time, had some ups and downs, but, in that last 4-year span, it's business has been picking up. So we're in 25 states now, and first time in Idaho, and we're super stoked and pumped to be here. Like I said, Idaho is not what we thought it was going to be. It's beautiful and it's gorgeous.
It gets in your blood, and then you're like, shit, now you got to move here.
Yeah,
Just
like,
warning you.
We
Yeah.
have to come back.
Yeah.
So for sure.
Come back. Yeah, definitely come back in the wintertime.
Yep.
We'll go get in the lake.
Yep.
We can relive some of your military memories.
Some of the glory
I'll,
days.
I'll watch. I'll pass you guys tequila.
No.
Well, we could do that, and then this will warm us up afterwards.
There
You know, remember the? You ever heard the phrase? We all take the bite out of the same bite out of the same shit sandwich.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. And honestly, coming from the military, I honestly, I was never military, but obviously just coming from teams and doing that together and doing the struggles of life together, that is what cold dipping is about for me up here. It's about going in and going, this sucks, but I'm doing it with my friends, and we're all getting in. We're all going to sit there and look at each other and talk about how dumb we are, that we're in this stupid lake. We could be doing something else, sipping tequila, but we're doing it. And it makes it a lot of fun. It's a cool bonding experience for sure.
You embrace the suck together.
Yeah,
I
100%.
guess in a way,
Yeah,
you know,
100%. Yep.
And that's, if you're doing it together, it's cool.
Right,
It's
and you
totally fun.
look over at your buddy, and you're like, "Yeah, he's
I hate
miserable.
this.
Yeah, he's being a puss. I'm gonna be harder than him, right? Yeah. So there's a bit of that too, which is good.
And that's how you grow that bond, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
between a group of people. So
Yeah. So Taylor, same thing in the military. You did the same thing.
Yep. We were rescue swimmers together. I did a much shorter stint. I only did one contract, so I was in for 6 years. Same kind of story. I think pretty much everybody in the military are a bunch of degenerates, dude. So everybody we're with, kinda
Same
has
with
the
first
same story.
responders. That's accurate. What does a rescue swimmer actually do? It sounds sexy. Is it sexy?
No.
Okay.
Some
can
days
be.
it does. Yeah, some days are really cool.
Well, who are you rescuing first of all?
Well, in Guam was kind of unique because Guam was kind of like Japan's Hawaii, so you get a lot of tourists that don't know how to swim.
Oh.
And then it's right on the Marianas Trench, so it's very specific to that location. So if somebody's walking along a reef, the Barrier Reef in Guam, and a wave comes and knocks them off the reef, it's 3 miles down. And the current, like rip currents on the coast, like where we're at in Texas or in California,
Yeah.
because they don't pull you straight out; it pulls you straight down. So the rescues were pretty gnarly out there because it was very unforgiving, the reef, and then just tourism as well. I mean, you guys are first responders, get it. Anytime you throw a mass amount of tourists into a dangerous place, it doesn't.
So what you're saying is people are dumb in general.
People being people.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, and on top of that too, like in our example, Guam that we're using, there's a lot of hiking. There's a lot of outdoorsy stuff people like to do as well. People get lost out there, so it's not just over water; it's over land. It's
falling
that we
off
have
trails,
to go.
breaking legs.
And then when you're going out and deploying, we deploy with different Marine expeditionary units. Sometimes it would be a carrier or something that we'd go out with. Our whole purpose there was if an aircraft went down, an F-18,
gotcha.
if another jet went down or whatever, somebody fell overboard, that's your responsibility is to go jump in there and go save people.
What's the level of medical training for you guys?
EMT-1
Okay.
would be your equivalent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a lot you can do while you're in the water.
No, just get them out.
Yeah.
But then you start working on them in the helicopter.
Right.
Like the scenario would be like Adam. I was his junior, so I was his nugget whenever I was in, and he'd be in the bird operating the hoist, and then whenever I get the guy out of the water or off land back into the bird, then Adam starts working on the guy and communicating with the pilots, and I'm helping.
Yeah.
So that would be a crew chief in the Navy. Same kind of concept. So. Once you get them out of the bad environment back into the bird, that's whenever you start working together to work on them and get them to the close hospital.
Yeah, and in like an ideal situation, it was a team of 5. So you'd have 2 pilots, flying the aircraft. You'd have somebody working the hoist. You'd have somebody in the water, and then you'd have a corpsman with you. Somebody that has higher level medical care. And that person, they would be doing all the medical triage, dealing with all the trauma, with whatever's coming with the, whatever scenario is kind of thrown at you.
Yeah.
We've had a few rescues like that to where if I didn't have a corpsman back there, man, I would have been sweating it, absolutely sweating
Oh
it.
yeah. Yeah.
Because they're kind of just an extension of what you're doing, kind of controlling the chaos, as well as just taking care of whatever patients and survivors you got back there.
It's amazing too. You talk about rescues. You can get overwhelmed really, really quick. And correct me if I'm wrong, but one person is one tragedy, and it's one complication. But when you get 2 people, it's exponential. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
I have the perfect example of that. So I was a state trooper, but real cop. And I get this call one night, and I'm like in East Bumfuck already, and randomly this crash happens like a mile away, which was shocking because normally it would have been a 30-minute response time. And the call comes out like pretty bad. Bodies in the road, that kind of call. So oddly enough, I put my glove. I never put latex gloves on the way, but I did, and I got there in a minute. And I get out, and there's two dudes laying in the roadway, and they're like 15 feet apart, and neither of them are breathing. And I'm like, well, shit, I know how to do CPR, but I don't know how to handle this, right? Like,
Right.
what do I do? And so that's like a perfect example of, the textbook training is great. And then you start adding more casualties into the incident, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, when you have like a mass casualty going on like that. Not sure what type of medical training you had. Like as a state trooper, we would do it once a month and just prepare for the worst.
We had like very low level.
Yeah.
The lowest, like not even EMT. I was an EMT, but I had decertified. But our level was like, I don't remember, first responder or whatever. It was pretty basic. So they both died. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. But do you guys have a favorite rescue story like that you remember? One that stands out, like a good one?
I do. I got one, and it was on Guam. It was with a good buddy that we have together. His name is Michael. It was just a late night one that we ended up getting called for. And it was some tourists that kind of we were talking about. They were out there on the water. They were jet skiing all day, and they had a banana boat on the back that they were kind of trailing. But the rope got caught in the propeller of the jet ski. So there was like 4 or 5 of them out there, and just kind of how you're talking about, like the mass casualty thing. This was like at midnight. We're on night vision goggles, kind of just we searched for them probably for about an hour and a half, 2 hours or so. We had to gas up a few times before we finally found them. And it's like midnight, and there they are. And at nighttime, you got to lower a swimmer down via the wire. You hook them up to the hook. Lower him down there. You can't jump him out because it's just too dangerous at
We
nighttime.
got reefs and stuff like that in the area you're talking about too.
Yep. So we lower him down, and then he just starts working on these people. And the seas were a little rough. And I remember I'm watching him, and like he's working the first person that he's trying.
Is this Taylor?
No, this wasn't Taylor. This is another guy.
Okay.
And he's getting ready to kind of hook him up, prepare him to come back up to the helicopter cabin, and he just throws up on him, just like right in his face, the survivor. So I'm watching like projectile vomit just go on him, and I'm just laughing.
That's got to look kind of cool under NVGs, though, right?
It did look pretty cool. And then, so I'm talking to, I'm communicating to the people in the front, to the pilots in the front, what's going on, and everybody's just laughing.
He's throwing up everywhere.
Yeah, it's like our guy he just took a vomit shot to the face because these guys have been out there on the rough water for the last who knows how long.
So bad.
But we eventually got the 4 of them back up, but that's a funny one that sticks out to me.
I can resonate.
Yeah, it's just it's good to see a guy that you're close with, and he's trying to save someone's life, and he just gets thrown up.
Didn't you throw up on somebody?
I threw up on somebody.
Yeah.
They threw up.
So
I intubated
hits
a
home
guy.
with you, that story.
Yeah, I was intubating a guy, and he hit his gag. He threw up everywhere, and then I threw up on him.
Everybody's throwing up on everybody.
And I got him to the hospital, and they're like, "That is a lot of vomit." I'm like, "Yes, it is."
Yeah, and then when we finally got him up in the cabin, like everybody was smelling it, so it almost caused a chain reaction. Everybody's
Something about that smell, man.
and I'm like,
Dang.
look, everybody just hold it down. Get some strong stomachs. We don't want to all be throwing up on each other.
That is almost the worst, other than someone shitting themselves in the back of your patrol car, which is the worst.
Which it sounds like it's happened to you.
Yes.
before.
Yeah. In our patrol car, so CHP, we didn't have like the plastic back seats. We had just a normal Crown Victoria back seat and cloth. Yeah, dude. So
That's a terrible idea.
Terrible idea. So you'd try, like, if you knew it was coming, you'd put down. We had fatal blankets in the back. Just a yellow blanket. We'd put those down to protect the seat, but inevitably, some nasty shit gets on those seats and.
Who cleans those?
We had to send them out to like some company that like biohazard cleaning. Yeah, so that happened pretty regularly. But I mean, plastic makes so much more sense. The argument for us was we would take a lot of people off the freeway, so you're giving rides to people a lot. We deployed to a lot of riots, so we'd have officers in the back seat. So like the cars get used multi-purpose.
The jail would clean them for us up here. Somebody threw up and shit in the back. Yeah, I'd just sit there and wait until it was clean.
Some poor inmate comes out and does it.
Bring the firemen out to do it for me.
Just get the hose.
Blast it with
Hose
the
out.
hose.
Yeah. Run it through the car wash, doors open.
But yeah, the smells, man, the smells of humanity.
Yeah, it's but that's a story that sticks out for me. I don't know what kind Taylor's got, but that's a funny one. I thought that's worth sharing.
And
so.
everybody lived.
Everybody made it. Yeah.
See, that's a good. That's
from,
a positive
From that
story.
point, we just took a bunch of people that smelled like vomit to the hospital. We dropped them off, and we called it a night. So.
Do you guys operate? I mean, it sounds like the same thing Coast Guard's doing. Very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar. I mean, we're basically an extension of the Coast Guard.
Gotcha.
In a sense, when it comes to search and rescue, it's the same, training syllabus. We actually plagiarize and steal a lot of stuff from the Coast Guard. We see how they do it, and then we just do it like them. So
Cool.
But yeah.
No reason to reinvent it.
No, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If somebody's doing it the right way the first time, just copy what they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
That's cool.
Taylor, you got any good ones?
Only bad stories are coming to my mind.
That's how my mind goes too. Like the bad ones stick out more than the good ones, When I'm sitting with dudes I worked with and we're bullshitting and they're reminiscing and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that now, that funny story. But it's really like the tragic ones that burn into your brain and that you just like can't get out.
Yeah.
Which might be a good segue into that movie trailer that you guys sent over. Do you want to dive into that a little bit?
Dude,
and what
that was phenomenal. Watching it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Tell us about this movie.
Hell or High Seas. It's kind of the origin story. The whole reason we created the documentary was to have a conversation about PTSD. By the time I got out of the Navy, we had lost 4 guys killed themselves. And now, 23 people that we knew have killed themselves just a couple months ago. Yeah.
That you guys knew.
Yeah. That either we've worked with, been in the rescue swimmer community. And that, it's been 10 years. The numbers aren't great. So I had a really hard time whenever I got out of the Navy. And I didn't understand it. So whenever I was in, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this too, like whenever you're operating at that tempo, you're going every day, there's no time for you even to think about yourself and check in, There's no time to think I have a problem or I'm not okay, right? Like the concept of PTSD never crossed my mind. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. Even while we were in, one of our buddies killed himself, and I was like, dude, like super sad. Love him, but I didn't get it. I was like, why would you do something like that? And then whenever I got out and I wasn't working every day at that pace, at that tempo, doing the job with the guys in the shop, and there's a lot more time there for your body to start decompressing. And then you start thinking about everything, and I think it just all kind of compounds and catches up to you, which is what it did to me. The biggest thing, this is what scared me, and this is why I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
When I knew that there was a real problem with me, was for no reason at all, my adrenaline would start running. Like I wasn't doing anything. I'd just be sitting there, either trying to work on something, or apply for a job. Or I'd be driving, like no traffic either, no like road rage or anything, just driving along the road, nobody else on the road, and my heart rate would start running, and I was like, that's a problem. This isn't like this never used to happen. I've never experienced that before. When I was in the military, that never happened to me. I was like I am now.
Where do you think? Where's that coming from? I went through that too. So I'm completely relating with you on that. But can you pinpoint it? Is it from the risk of doing the job? Is it from the trauma that you saw from the job? Do you know?
Yeah, we do, and it's in the film. It's why we made the film to talk about it. There's a lot of research done on it, and it's the only reason the film exists. So what happens is the years of your body dumping adrenaline into its system on a regular, like daily basis. This is what I tell people, like PTSD isn't just people in combat. That's the biggest thing about the film, like mainly first responders too, So whenever you're going on a call or before you're going on scene, like you got that, you're awake, your adrenaline's going, dude. You're like, I'm about to go in there. This is going to happen. I'm going to do my fucking job right now.
Yep.
So doing that over and over and over and over again for years, for decades or 20 years. For me, I did it for 6 years. But it's every single day where your body's dumping adrenaline and cortisol in your system. It's the fight or flight reaction that everybody talks about. That's what's going on. So on a physiological level, it shrinks a portion of your brain, the hippocampus. Just that amount of adrenaline and cortisol shrinks it, so it it makes your body is able to adapt to that situation easier. I'm not a doctor. The film tells it better than I'm doing now. So whenever you stop doing that, your body doesn't just stop dumping adrenaline into itself at that pace. So you've built up this pattern in your body that it's gotten used to over years of doing it. And then whenever you just quit and you're not living in that environment anymore and you're not working at that tempo anymore, your body doesn't just say, oh, I'm just going to turn this off. That doesn't happen. It takes years for your body to slow back down to that pace and regrow, which is also a really cool thing that we found and talk about in the documentary, is those portions of your brain that shrunk because of that amount of adrenaline and cortisol actually regrow over time. So it's really just a time thing and being in a healthy environment, which is why we started nonprofits. What we do, we can get into that in a minute. But in the gist, that's what happens. That's why. And the first person that explained that, first doctor that explained that to me, like it was a light bulb for me. It was a click. I was like, duh, dude, duh. You cannot operate like that for fucking years and expect you to be the same. Expect your mind and your body to be exactly the same. Like, you're a freaking idiot, Taylor. Like, why would you think that, right? So when he told me that, like, that was like a moment of hope for me. I was like, oh, well, if I change my body operating at this tempo, then I can change it back. Because if I affected this change, or my lifestyle affected this change, then I can live a lifestyle to regrow the portion. And that's what we do at the nonprofit. So that's what we wanted to talk about on the film is you don't have to live that way. You don't have to live scared, wondering what the fuck's going on with your body if you're ever going to be normal again. That was the thing for me too, is whenever I got it, I was like, man, I was angry all the time. I was super like negative because you see, like, you guys know, that's why I like talking to guys, is all you see is negative all the time with people, dealing with people in their worst days. You're showing up on somebody's worst day of their entire life. They lost their family, they lost their possessions, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, and you do it 3 times that day, and you're like, that's a normal day.
And then that, like, it makes you, like, as a person, makes you super, super jaded. Like, you, to the point where you can't see anything beautiful anymore at all. And that's all you do is just, you become fucking Batman, dude. You live in the darkness, you know? Like, everything is dark. Everything is black. Nothing's happy.
I mean, that's the like, that's what a lot of guys, they embrace that. You know, you see all the dark, embrace the sun. Like, all the shit, man. Yeah. You see all these, I see it in the cop world a lot. And, like, it's a very toxic environment to work in. And I think that because guys go down that road, it makes them toxic, and then that's just all they know.
I think so. We've had a lot of years to talk about this and kind of break it down, and these conversations that we have on the boat when we're sailing. And I used to really resent how I thought and felt whenever I was in the military. I hated who I was. I was just a mean, angry, like fuck you, like, dude. To the point I knew I needed to get out of the Navy because I didn't give a fuck if someone died. I was like, man, I don't fucking care. Like, I felt nothing. It meant nothing to me. Like, if we were going to go help someone, I was like, you know, maybe we're going to do our best, but I don't know. Like, there was no feeling there.
That's a weird place to get, right? You've lost your humanity a little bit.
Yeah, your humanity. Like, I didn't at all. I didn't care at all. It's not related, but this was another, like, light bulb moment where I realized, like, I hated who I was. I was walking into the Nex in Guam, and there's like a little Girl Scout troop or something on the base, and they're out there selling cookies, and just sweet little, like, 5-7-year-old girls, you know. And it was one of those days. I got done flying. It was like one of those 2 double bags, 8-hour flight. I landed, and I was going next to probably buy booze. I don't remember what it was, but I walked in the door, and the little girl walked in front of me, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to buy some cookies?" And I was like, "Get the fuck out of my way!" And her parents were standing there. Like, the mom was shocked, dude. And then, like, I didn't think about it, and I was walking around the store, and I was like, "Who am I, dude? Like, the little girl."
That's gnarly,
right?
So yeah, man, it's one of the, you know, those regrets that you lay up at night and you're like, dude, I fucking hated who I was. That ate at me for a while. But all of that to say that when you're operating like we were, I don't think we could have done as good of a job unless you're in that mentality, like, you got to fucking embrace this and get after it. Like, but there needs to be a conversation that says, that's what you need to do to stay alive then. This is the mentality you need to do to stay alive now.
Yeah,
and that mentality you had, dude, and while you're in, doesn't work out here.
That is the big challenge, especially, you know, in the first responder world. You go home to your wife and kids at night, and you can't, like, if you take that, that's a sure path to divorce for sure, and that happens to 50% of the marriages out there in that world. But you can't take that home But you're right. You have to operate in that environment, because if you're going to a fatal with a whole family that's killed in a car crash, and I'm a very empathetic person, and it made me a good cop, but it made it hard on me too, because I would have a lot of empathy for these people, and I am delving into that too much in my mind, and then now I carry that with me, and I go home and I have to try to flip that switch. It's tough.
It was a conversation I'd have with firemen all the time, especially new firemen, right? We'd run on the baby call, right? We'd run on the young kid call. Yep. You guys know the calls I'm talking about, and you're on this call, and yeah, it's crazy, right? You see this and you're like, oh my gosh. And we get back and I'd check in with my guys and go, hey, let's sit down real quick. And I'd say, hey, look, you guys good? First of all, you good? You good? You good? Everybody's like, yeah, I'm good. Okay, cool. I don't care what you just told me, but here's the deal. Especially for newer guys, I go, look, this is not the only one you're going to see. You're going to see another one tomorrow, and then you're going to see it the next day, and you're going to see it the next day. If you need something, you have to know that we're here to help you. But I also was very, very blunt with people that would come to me. I would say, look, let's get you the help. Let's do all this stuff. But I would also be very, very clear with people. Look, if PTSD, take that, and it sucks to use this word because we talk about this is like anti-PTSD, yep. Right? If you can't suppress it and be able to hear that alarm go off and go on the exact same call and be able to have your head straight so that you can do what you need to medically to potentially have a different outcome on the next call. Right. If you can't perform to that level, this job may not be for you. Yeah. And it sucks to say that because then you come into the, well, shoot, maybe that guy's not Batman. Nobody wants to be that, right? Mm. It's tough, but there is a suppression where you go, look, if I were to take all my feelings and let them come out on these calls, right, I wouldn't be able to make it through the next call. You'd be worthless. I'd make a terrible decision, yeah. Right? And so I kind of rode that line of like, look, I want to get you help, but look, if this is something that we can't handle, I need you out because I cannot rely on you, dude. I may not go home to my family if you're struggling on the next call, and I need you to save my ass. Like, I need you to be ready for this.
I have failed on that regard, dude. My buddy, Sam, he talks shit about me all the time because there's this one time I had this call.
I remember this.
We had a body in the road, and anyway, fucked up deal, whatever. I never solved that case too, which still eats at me, but like 2 days later, we get the same call, fucking body in the road. And I'm like, God damn it. And I'm like, I was driving like super slow. A fucking ambulance passed me, and he just never lets me live that down. And he's like, bro, you let the ambulance pass a fucking police car rolling code 3. And I'm like, yeah. I didn't want to go to the call. Yeah. And so I get that, it's dude. Tough. It is tough. And my department, and I think a lot of police departments, they're coming around, but they weren't good at no one did that for me, right? Like sergeants should have been doing that, but they weren't. And out of all the, I don't even know, hundreds of critical incidents I've been to, I've had one critical incident debrief, and it was from a shooting where my partner shot somebody. That's it. Like all the fatals, all the shit, dude, the fucking fires, the dams failing, all the shit that were super risky and never. And there was not somebody there. And
without some sort of CISM or something like that, what do we go to? Goes to jokes.
Yeah, it goes to jokes, and unfortunately, sometimes to substance abuse, and stuff like that.
But if people were to hear the jokes that you've probably made, that you've made, I've made, like they would be canceling this podcast. They're like, absolutely not. These are the worst people.
Get them out of here.
I've said stuff before where I'm like, when I have people are like, what's the worst joke you know? And I'm like, you don't want to know, bro. You couldn't even, like, you wouldn't be, unless you sat in that cab with me or in that car, there's no way you would understand it.
Do you know how dark my sense of humor can
be? Yeah, I know.
Those things can only be said in third world countries.
Yeah. Seriously. People don't understand. It's like, well, I got to figure out something because there's nobody protecting me. There's nobody that's going to fix what's going on for me. And I got to figure out a way to take that and get it out of the way so I can focus on the next thing. And you might think that I'm a criminal for doing that. You may not like the way that I do it, but if you want me to continue to run these roads, if you want me to continue to jump in the water, fly this helicopter, take care of this issue, then you have to let me figure out how to do it because there's not a lot of support out there for it.
No. I'm just laughing because I'm thinking of some funny shit.
Different stories going through your head.
I know. Super inappropriate. Yeah.
That's what those long drives together for. That's traveling together. Like, hey, remember this?
Yeah.
So. Okay.
I
got to hear more about this movie now. Yep. So obviously this is cool. This is something that you wanted to raise awareness for PTSD. Tell us about this movie. Like what's what is the whole premise of this documentary? Who's involved? How did this come about?
Cool. So skip past the point where I was like, I'm not okay. Something's wrong with me. I really wanted to find a way to talk about it, to let the guys know that we were in Guam together whenever they got out, like what's going on with me. And that was really my only focus, man. That's kind of where it started. And really the only reason we did it was I wanted to, because I was one of the first guys, like from my group that went to the island, was one of the first guys that got out. And I was like, dude, all I thought about was the guys coming out after me. And I was like, man, these guys are going to be fucked too, for sure. And I guess the best way to put it, man, was a lot of cowardice on my end. I was like, well, maybe I can just tell the story one time and I never have to talk about it again for the rest of my life. And I fucked up with that. So the best way that we kind of came about was like, well, the only way to really reach everyone, veterans in particular, is through media and film, like YouTube. You know, YouTube was starting to be a thing, YouTube influencers and stuff. So I was like, well, why don't we film it? And then it was like, well, who's gonna fucking pay attention to a thing with a dude talking about his feelings? Like, nobody's gonna watch that and be like, that's dumb. I'm not gonna listen to a guy staring into a camera and talking about, that's fucking gay. That's what they say. They'll be like, hey, you should check this out, dude. And I'll be like, that's fucking no, dude, you're an idiot. So I was like, well, then we'd have to do something that's like the biggest thing in the world, right? So there's only
big or go home.
You're right. There's only a couple big things in the world, and that's Mount Everest, Kilimanjaro, and for the sailing world, for the ocean, it's Cape Horn. Cape Horn is the biggest oceans in the world, biggest seas, most dangerous place on Earth. And so I was like, what if we sail?
Hear me out.
I got an idea.
Hear me out.
Good call.
Around Cape Horn and talk about our feelings while we do that. And so that's where the idea came about.
This is crazy.
We'd use the backdrop of Cape Horn as like the platform to talk about veteran suicide and PTSD and like what it actually feels like from a firsthand experience. Because, like I said, I would go back to what I thought about it in the military, and I didn't get it at all. I thought PTSD was what Hollywood talked about. And I was in the military, and I didn't know that. And I didn't know until I got out. And the first time I went to the VA and I was telling them, I was like, dude, why is my heart rate so high? Like, for why? I'm not even doing anything. She was like, yeah, that's what PTSD is. It's like, oh, why am I just now hearing about this after the problem has already started? Mm-hmm. I'm already drinking. I'm already like, I went way down the rabbit hole, super alcoholic, not even a functioning alcoholic. So I was like, why are we hearing about this now? There's so many of those why questions. Like, we need to talk about this. And so sail around Cape Horn, talk about our feelings. That sounded a lot easier to do than it was. It's one of those like
piece of cake.
It doesn't sound easy to me, just for the record.
Naive decisions before you get into it.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Where do you start? Where'd you get the boat? Like
in Pensacola, Florida.
And then you sailed that thing over to Cape Horn.
So I was working for a charter company there called Jolly Sailing in Pensacola, who were lovely, man. Super patient with me, and they were great. They were really one of the only reasons that I got the boat up and running. So I would work all day sailing in Pensacola Bay, and then work on my boat at night that I bought. Because we fished a lot in Guam. Guam's some of the best fishing in the world, so we'd go fish on the weekends. They had really good boats you could rent for cheap, and then you catch like on a slow day. We'd catch like 4 mahi and 6 yellowfin tuna. And, for our group, we'd keep like 1 tuna and 1 mahi. And then we'd go sell the rest to the hotel chains on the beach. And I saved that money while I was in the Navy. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I was getting out. And I was like, I need to at least have something to live for a little bit because I didn't have a job or anything lined up. So that's the money I used to buy the boat. The old lady, she was a real POS, dude. She was awful. So it took
a little rundown.
How big was she?
36 foot.
That's pretty big.
Watkins. Not big enough for Cape Horn, man. Not big enough.
Old lady needed some loving.
Yeah, a lot of love.
So did you fix her up and get it ready for this trip?
Yeah,
or
good enough. Good enough, man. Then set sail from Pensacola right into Hurricane Harvey. whenever she was coming across the Gulf of
God.
Mexico.
Dude.
When it
Yeah,
rains,
like
it
a
pours.
glutton for punishment here? Like, what is this?
Yeah, it was a massive mistake, and on my part.
Yeah, tell me about
How
it.
many how many crew did you have with you?
So it was me and Steven, who he spent his doctorate studying combat veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. He's
Okay.
one of the first people that actually explained to me what PTSD is. And whenever I was telling him what I was going through, man, I'd call him, and he'd be like, everything that you're telling me right now is every single person I have interviewed about PTSD. I'm like, this, again, man, I'm like, this is a problem.
He was your film guy.
Yeah, and he's a civilian.
Yeah.
You know?
Is he super psyched to go around Cape Horn?
No.
Okay.
No. He wasn't, but he did it. He was there, man. He's just a good friend.
Nobody
dude.
got excited.
That's
a terrible
he's
idea.
Just good. He's a good buddy, man. He was there. He was there for me, 100%. I'm
Yeah.
always going to be grateful for him. So he went, and then a guy from Guam flew out to fly with us across the Gulf of Mexico, killing, and that was the first leg. So Harvey hits land, and then Harvey went back out to sea. And you know, I'm from the Gulf, and usually that's a pretty rare thing to happen. But after a hurricane, it's super calm, like really calm, like glass ocean calm. And so I was like, that looks like perfect weather window to me. You know, to know outside of being already lived through that experience, knowing what I know now, I still wouldn't have left because there's still the chance, you know. And now, like, I'm probably one of the safest sailors in the world. I don't take any chances at all. But I didn't know. So yeah, so that's in the film. I don't want to ruin too much of it for you.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this about it real quick. So you made it around Cape Horn.
Barely.
Okay. So when you plan something like that, now obviously we've made some mistakes from, you know, just setting sail with a hurricane.
Yep.
But is there like a window that's best in terms of months to go around Cape Horn? I'm assuming there is. January.
Yes.
So were you shooting for that window, or were you just like, screw it?
Yep.
Okay.
We were shooting to get down for January, and that's why, like, that was why there was the pressure to leave when we did, because if we left any later than that, we would have been down in Patagonia in the dead of winter, which ended up happening anyways because we had a lot of problems, pirates and
Pirates?
Yeah, we caught fire.
You caught fire?
And pirates.
Okay.
There's
So I was
much.
before all this started, I was like, dude, take me sailing sometime now. Don't.
Yeah, fuck
I
that.
told you.
You said okay. You had pirates and you caught fire. This is going to be
I
good.
gotta watch this. I gotta watch the movie, dude. Holy
I think
shit!
we might-
How long does it take to sail around Cape Horn, or how long did it take you guys?
It took us 2 years, but
Hold up. I thought you were gonna say like
back
2
it
weeks,
up.
bro.
yeah, 2 years.
2 years.
And part of that is because the boat caught fire. I had to. We pulled into Chile and had to come back up here and raise some more money to keep the boat going.
Okay.
So that took about 7 months.
How long is that trip? Miles.
Whatever. It was like just over 22,000, 23,000 nautical miles.
Oh, that's a lot more than I thought. Okay.
It's almost the circumference.
How long did you think it was going to take?
Thought it was going to take 9 months.
Okay.
So 9 months to 2
Pretty
years.
close. Yeah.
2 years. You know they have. That's why they created the Panama Canal, right?
We did go through the canal, and actually, that's probably one of the biggest. This is all in the film too. You know, I didn't realize it at the time when we were filming it in that moment. But everything we do is based off of that moment we crossed through the Panama Canal. So I'm gonna give you this spoiler. This spoiler's got to happen because it's one. I think it's one of the most beautiful things that has ever happened in my life. And we're set to go through the canal. We're down in Panama waiting. You gotta wait for your window to go through,
Right?
Because you're a little boat, and the priority is container ships. So we were down there for like a month and a half waiting to go through the canal. And the
Hanging out in that lake, right?
yeah, well, you get to Lake Gatun before you're in. We were in on the north side. What is that town, man? I just remember the name of the marina, Shelter Bay Marina. We were hanging out there, and so the day comes when it's time for us to go through the canal. We get through the locks, the first set of locks, and then we get to Lake Gatun. You know, which is, dude, that was awesome. I mean, you're bringing a boat 92 feet into the
That's
air
wild.
at elevation. Like, it's cool. So you stay the night on the lake, and then this boat, you know, much larger, 72 foot. It's a Challenge 72 foot sailboat, steel hold, anchored next to us, and it's all active duty Army guys from the UK. And I didn't think anything about it then. You know, we're drinking champagne and stuff on the boat, having a good time, and they're not allowed to drink whenever they're out, so they're all kind of watching us having a good time, and I'm talking shit to them. I'm talking a lot of shit to them because they're all Army dudes, and they're giving us a hard time for being in the Navy. And that goes on. That goes on for a while. And the next day, you know, we leave super early because our engine's pretty small, so we'd only motor at like 5 knots, which is, you know, it's normal for here, but being in the ocean, you need a stronger engine to do that. And so we had to leave like 4 hours early. So we're already going down the channels of the canal, and then about 3 hours into it, our transmission blows up, and yeah, that's bad. Which is a massive deal. So like going through the canal is about $7,000, which is a lot for me. Wow, I don't have that money. I don't just have $7,000 in my bank account just there to use. So if you don't get through the canal, they tow you back to the beginning, and then you have to pay again and wait again to go through.
Damn.
So transmission blows up. We get pulled off. This part's not in the film. We get pulled off to the side of the channel, and you're assigned, when you're going through the canal, you're assigned like a pilot and you have to pay him too. You have to pay him like $700 just to sit there and tell you how to stay in a channel, which is whatever. So the whole time he's calling the main base there that runs the canal, and he's like, you need to pull over. You need to get out of the channel right now because there's a container ship coming. I'm like, fuck. And he's already coordinating tows to tow us back to the beginning. I'm like, it's over. We haven't even made it through the canal. It's already over. Damn. And I'm like, there's got to be something. And then, dude, sure as shit.
The English saved you.
Yeah. The Brits come around the corner of the canal. I
British.
still see it clear as day. They come around the corner. I see their boat coming. I'm like, I'm going to have to fucking eat this pie, dude.
Be humble.
yeah.
The British are saved.
I'm like, here it's coming. And it took me a minute to make the call, too. It really did, because I did
British are
not
coming.
want to do it. And so I get down. I go to the radio on 16. I'm like, hey, sorry about last night. Can you guys give us a tow the rest of the way through the canal? And it started on the radio. They're like, oh, the fucking Americans need saving. You know?
That's when you know you're good, though.
I was like,
That's when that
yeah.
starts coming back.
Yeah.
So they ended up agreeing. They're like, yeah, we'll tow you. And they pulled up. All of them are on deck talking mad shit, dude. Like, look at you fucking Americans. You know? I'm like, oh, whatever. I ended up giving the skipper the shirt off my back, literally, in that moment. I was like, thanks, man, dude. Thank you. And so we had, you know, we were working with a couple other nonprofits. This is really before we started ours. So we had a Mission 22 flag flying on the boat. And the guys, that's when we started having the conversation. And the guys were like, why are you guys flying a Mission 22 flag? They all obviously knew about it. We're like, well, you know, we're here to kind of make a film about veteran suicide and PTSD. And they were like, well, that's what we're out here doing. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? You guys are active duty right now. And then when we found out the night before that they were all just on rotation back from Iraq. And they were like, we're required. After we deploy, we rotate a third of our unit at a time to go to some sort of adventure therapy program. They were on the sailing portion of it, but there's a hiking, a fishing, a kayaking programs, and it's all within their active duty military. It's all run by it.
Wow.
Yeah. So this I got goosebumps thinking about it right now. So the one guy, we were sitting on the back of the deck. This is what fucking changed my life. He was like, "Look, man," because I'm still in shock. I still can't believe there's active duty guys that they come out there for 2 weeks and they're sailing the Las Perlas Islands down in Panama. I'm like, so I keep asking the question over and over again. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing out here, really? And he's like, look, like our unit, you know, we want to make sure everybody's physically okay when we come home, but we want to make sure everybody's mentally there. He was like, we had a lot of problems with guys, you know, coming back, and we figured out that if we were all healthy mentally, we operated a whole lot better and worked a lot better together. Because when they're on these expeditions, there's no rank, so like they had a captain and like 8 enlisted dudes on board and a couple more officers. They had 1 star on the boat too, and all of them were the same rank, and all of them talked shit to each other and worked outside of being in Iraq together, just being people in nature again. And so that's what he was like. We want to make sure everybody's mentally better, and then we go back to work. So they're required to do 2 weeks doing this,
Dude.
And I was like, that was the moment for me. I was like, why the fuck are we not doing this in the U.S. And that was always kind of in the back of my mind, thinking about that moment when I met them and what they do. And so the entire nonprofit is kind of what we talked about earlier. We didn't invent this thing. We took exactly what the UK is doing for the military, and that's what we're doing here. So we're good friends with them now, work with them. Actually, one of our skippers used to work for their program. It's called the JSASTC in the UK, the Joint Sailing Adventure Sail Training Center in the UK. If anybody wants to look it up, it's an incredible program. It's all funded by their military, by their Ministry of Defense. And the way it works, if anybody wants to know, this is what my 20-year goal in game to get to is to get federal funding to send orders for active duty military members to get orders to an adventure therapy program in the country, because there's about 66,000 of them, which says enough in itself. Like, people aren't creating these things just because they're fun. You know, they're creating them because they want to. It's guys like us who lost a lot of dudes and are like, we need to do something about this. So the day that an active duty member gets official orders to a program is the day that I think we've made real change in this country. And it's because of that moment that happened in the Panama Canal. And it's a really easy conversation to have, because people are like, well, how do you know this works? I'm like, because the UK is doing it, because Australia's doing it, because Israel's doing it. They have all written the framework. Their version of the DOD has this written and funded in their government. Like, they didn't make this up, dude.
Yeah, and it's something.
And they've been doing
works,
it for years. The UK's been doing it for 50 years. This program's been around for 5 decades.
Why are we so far behind? I don't understand.
I honestly, I don't think there's any malice in it, dude. I think people didn't know. I didn't know. I don't think a lot of people don't
Education.
know. Yeah.
You know what? There's another thing too. I hate to say it, but when you're number one, when you're the winner, like, we came out of World War II and everything else is the winners, right? Like, I think there's almost like a mental mindset that, like, you're tough enough, we're strong enough, we don't have the issues all these other countries have, right? We're America. And I think there is a little bit of ego that goes into it, from our military all the way down. Like, we're not raising a bunch of guys that need PTSD.
Yeah.
So
Or, you know, they training all this stuff. So I think that probably is something that we've kind of had in the back of our minds, that we're good enough that we don't have these same issues these other places do.
There's another aspect of it too that we had in the film. We ended up taking out because so many veterans were pissed off about it. There's an interview we did with a congressman, and the goal of the interview was to, you know, show like forward movement and these kind of programs in our country, and it went horribly wrong. The interview did, and the congressman was like, "If you couldn't save any of your friends from killing themselves, what makes you think you can save anyone else from killing themselves?" And then the other highlight of the conversation when I started talking about the UK's program was, well, they're a much smaller country than we are, and it's a lot easier for them to build those programs here. And I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. Look how much money we're spending in our own military, like more than their entire country. You're telling me we can't start this program here? So that's kind of the mentality is they're smaller countries, so they can do it. So there's kind of two things we're up against. It's the ego thing and then being like, oh, we're too big, we can never do something like this.
And
the politics, man.
Definitely also at the congressional level too. You know, people who have previously served and have a different mindset.
Right. The politics of it, where people want to sit in there and they want to say, like, you know, well, there's always got to be this caveat of why should we do it, when you're saying people are losing their lives. We're not doing the why. You know, why is this important to us? Like, you're putting these people out here to protect their way of life, and then people are coming back that have a service mindset, man. They want to protect people. They want to do good things. Yeah. And then these types of things happen to them when you're not listening, and there's programs that obviously show that, you know, this stuff has been proven to work to help people out, to get them back into society and not have to live with those things.
Yep.
That's super important.
Yeah. You know, there's also the kind of the method, the approach of being taught to compartmentalize.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you just compartmentalize things. And there's so much shit that you could stuff in a bag. And at one point, you know, everything just blows up.
You're going to have to look in that bag.
You hit that breaking point.
You're going to have to look in that shit bag.
Yeah. Yeah. There's shit flying everywhere. So.
Well, this is super cool, man. That's pretty neat. I was talking to my son the other night because he was talking about doing hard things. And I love the fact that you just pick something. You're like, I don't know if that can be done. Let's just do it. Let's do something really, really hard.
Wild.
Because on a very, very small level, that's been where I go when I get angry, right? When I remember being at the fire station one day, and I hate being told something can't happen or just getting frustrated. And You know, I even told my son one day, I said something, and he was young, and I remember I was pissed off, and I looked at the top of a mountain, and I had a 5-gallon bucket there, and I'm like, I wonder how shitty it would be to carry that 5-gallon bucket full of sand all the way to the top of that thing. It took me like an hour and a half. It wasn't even that far. I dropped it a bunch of times. It rolled down the hill. I had to refill it up. Like, it was just shit, right? But there's a sense of accomplishment, man. I'm sure it was for you too, either in the Panama Canal or when you finally crested the Cape and you had one good day after that you had a second to relax, where all of a sudden you're like, man, there's an accomplishment here, right? And that's what keeps you going, is having those types of accomplishments, to be like, look, man, I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to choose this. I didn't have to do these things, but I did. And nobody else did. Like, I was able to go out and prove to myself that I can have these things done. And there is a sense of accomplishment personally for me when I can do those things.
Yeah. I know in the sailing, I'm not a big, sailor, but we've been at a few events together and just kind of talking to people and, hey, how'd you get the name of your guys' tequila? And, we talked to some people and I explain it. He ended up sailing around Cape Horn with very limited people. It was just like 3 people out there. And some responses are, no, it didn't. No, that never happened.
No, I get that.
He did not do that. And I said, no, yeah, he did. I said, well, watch this. Just watch this, trailer clip. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
because it's
check tape.
And I still don't fully understand it, like how treacherous like the waters are down there.
Right.
I don't know if I probably never will understand it, but like what was accomplished there is in the sailing community is the pinnacle.
Well, how many people do that a year? I mean, is there even any shipping routes that go around the Horn now?
Most of them go through Magellan, straight to Magellan.
Okay.
Don't go around Cape Horn. I still kind of look at it on marine traffic. It's a website where you can track ships around the world just to see how gnarly it is there sometimes. But I see a couple ships going around Cape Horn, a couple a year, man. Not many. It's too dumb to do now.
And for people that don't know, Cape Horn is going to be a little lower than, you said, the Straits of Magellan?
Yep. A couple 100 miles south of Magellan, bottom of South America. It's 500 nautical miles, give or take a couple, north of Antarctica. So icebergs.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, icebergs, super cold, lots of penguins, 80, 90-foot seas. It's massive down there.
What?
Damn.
Yeah. How long's your boat?
36 feet, yeah.
And 90-foot seas?
And when you tell people, how big was the boat? It was how big? Nah, it didn't happen. Like, no, I'm telling you, it happened.
Who were the crazy ones? Sounds like you probably had a little bit of a rotation of people on and off the ship. Okay, so who were the ones that came with you once you started getting to that point where things got treacherous? Obviously, you're approaching the south, part of the Cape and everything else.
It's
who
getting
was
worse
with you
and
then?
worse as the further south.
Yeah.
So we took a couple people, like we would fly people out. We flew a couple veterans out to Panama. That's in the film too. And then it was just Steven and I to Ecuador. And that's whenever we had a starter issue. We couldn't start the engine. Our starter blew up. So we were stuck in Ecuador for a long time. And that's when another guy from Guam with us was getting out of the Navy. And he was having a hard time, a really hard time, just like I was. And we brought him out sailing with us. And he sailed with us the rest of the way around Cape Horn. So it was myself, John Rose, and Steven. Yeah.
Is the sleep pretty good?
No.
Jesus, no.
No, you're soaking wet, man. It's one of those things. That's another life lesson I learned that I took from the Navy is like how much your mentality in really shitty environments matters. Because in the Navy, like when you're doing a job, you could let it eat at you. Like if you're super cold and wet, right? And you could be bitter about it, or you could make a joke about it and turn it around. And so I used that a lot. You had to use that on the boat every day. So the moment that I knew that it was really shitty was whenever I laid down in my rack, and the cushion, it cracked first because ice had formed a layer over top of it, and then it squished and all the water soaked up around me.
It's the VIP treatment.
Yeah, and I was like, fucking good, dude. I love this. I am so comfortable right now. I was like, I'm fucking glad I'm wet, dude. I'm glad I can't feel anything right now. Changes, and I don't know. For me, it works for me. It's a good trick that I use now today because we just got wrecked again sailing down in a blizzard from Norfolk. It was awful.
Oh, yeah.
It was bad.
January.
So I still do it today. I'm like, man, I fucking love it. Yeah.
Where can people find the film?
Hell or High Seas is on. It's on Amazon. It's free. It's free to watch.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully, a lot of people jump on and watch that. I'm definitely going to.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is going to
Hulu.
be.
I think it's still on Hulu as
Okay.
well. Free to watch also on Hulu, YouTube TV maybe. But yeah, a couple different
fantastic.
options there.
At the end of it is whenever the tequila's born.
See, that's I want to parlay into
piece of
that. How did we get from
Parlay.
that to this? Is
Yeah.
that, I believe that's a
Segue into it.
yeah.
Well, you guys, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but you probably had a couple moments when you're sitting in the car or you're sitting in the truck and you're like, we're going to fucking die right now.
Oh yeah,
a couple.
I got trapped and burned over on a fire.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was one.
You're looking at the dude next to you and you're like, we just fucking died.
Yeah.
But then, again, back to the humor, it's like, all right, motherfucker, if you don't die, dude, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Share a drink.
So we had that conversation. And in this part's kind of in the film. But I thought I killed John and Steven because we got hit by this monster storm down while we were around in Cape Horn. It was really, really freaking bad, dude. And the thing that's crazy about there, other than the height, like 9-10 story foot seas, is the way systems and storms move. Like here in the States, you could watch a cold front moving across the country over 4 days, right? Like in Texas, I'll watch it up here where you guys are at, and I'll be like, all right, I got about 4 days, just massive systems. And you guys know all the pressure and force that these things brings. But down there, dude, they move in a matter of like 20, 30 minutes across the horizon. It's wild. Yeah. So we were watching this storm come, and I'm like, dude, I just killed everyone. I just killed 2 guys that I love in this world.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So okay,
So we're like, if you don't die, what are you going to do? And
We're gonna drink tequila and we're gonna make tequila.
well, my thing, I was gonna go. I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to go live in Mexico. That's what I want to do. I want to live in Mexico, and I wanted to work on an agave farm. That's all I wanted to do with my life. I was gonna disappear into the desert of Mexico and never come back.
Be a farmer south of the border.
Yeah.
all right. So this tequila. So you guys got an añejo. I'm guessing this is a silver. Yes.
Yep.
A blanco.
Blanco, aka silver.
Okay. So I've become a fan of añejos recently. I was working with my buddy who's a trainer, does fitness competitions, everything else, and he put me on this diet and everything. And I'm like, well, can I have drinks at all? He's like, if you do, he goes, it's got to be añejo tequila. He goes, the agave has natural sugars. He's like, if you're gonna have anything, it's got to be that. And I'm like, I don't drink tequila. Well, all right, now I drink tequila, and I've loved different añejos that I've tried around the area. Every time I come across, I'm like, oh, what do you have? And dude, I've loved it. So this gets bottled in Mexico, correct? How do you come up with a tequila? Is it like somebody comes up with a certain type of tequila, you taste it, you say you like it, we want to buy this type, or how do you come up with this?
There's that. There's that portion of the industry, and that portion of the industry is what gives tequila a really bad name. And the only reason I know this is because whenever I first tried to start working down there, nobody would let me work on their farm because I was just a white dude in Mexico, and they thought I was a rich guy's assistant trying to buy good tequila, good agave. Which wasn't the case, and it took. I was like, I will work here for free. I got 100% disability from the military, and so I was like, I don't need to get paid, man. I just want to be here. I want to live here, and I want to do this. So that's how I got involved here. Was working on the farm. The big deal with tequila is the age of the agave, also where it's located. So. 9-year-old agave in Mexico is like a coveted thing, and it's rare you get 9-year-old agave in the States because most farmers won't sell it to those distilleries that are like that the wealthier assistant people come and say, hey, I want a tequila. Can you make me a tequila? And they're like, we have the best agave that you've ever had. And they sell them a 4 or 3-year-old agave. And it's just not a 5-year. So they have to add additives and sugar to that agave when they're distilling it to make it taste like a 9-year-old agave. So that's one of the first things that I usually ask is how old's the agave and where it's from. And then it's going to have different profiles. Also, I'm going to get super technical, so you guys stop me.
No, let's hear it.
All right. So like
Do you want to drink while he's explaining?
I want to try
Is
some.
it
yeah,
too
let's
early?
do it.
Just a couple glasses.
I want to try
If
some.
there's
Yeah.
some
pull
grab
some
some
glasses
glasses. We'll pour you up a little bit.
Some glasses for story time with Taylor. So
Have a seat around the table, guys.
Our agave is from Capilla de Guadalupe, and it's in the Highlands region. There's different regions in Mexico: Highlands, Lowlands, Norte, Suerte, and the Highlands is super dry, arid. Actually, our agave is from it's from the highest elevation you grow agave in Mexico. It's the highest farm in Mexico. And it's so dry, so it takes a little longer for it to grow. And but like a lowlands will take a little bit of less time. So if it's from lowlands, I could go with like 8-7-year-old agave because there's a little bit more water. So that's one of the biggest things. And then honestly, dude, genuinely, people are like, "How do you do this? How do you make it like this?" I'm like, you get good agave, and then you don't fuck it up. Don't do anything to it. Don't get too much barrel. Like for a while, for years, we just made Reposado and Blanco, and that was really my own kind of ego. Was I didn't want to cover the agave up with the barrel. And we just made that last February. So this is one of the first times it's in the country. This is the first time it's in Idaho. You guys are some of the first people in Idaho.
Dude,
to try
it's good.
It's like sipping.
It's
tequila.
supposed to, yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, if you mix it, you get slapped.
No, I wouldn't mix this.
I've taken it out of people's carts when they're
Tequila's
like,
supposed to be like
"Oh,
bourbon,
I'm
man.
gonna
You're
make
supposed
a margarita with this." I'm like, "All right, that one's
You're
not.
done. You're
That
done.
one's not for you."
Don't do that.
Have you met Casamigos?
Yeah.
So it's. I think I wish we had some repo for you, man. I wish we would have brought it.
And that's in a blue bottle, you said, right?
Yeah.
So you're doing the red, white, and blue. Okay.
Yep.
That is super cool.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough. We entered the San Francisco World Spirit Competition, which is supposed to be, and it is the pinnacle of spirits competitions in the world. We were fortunate enough to place gold, and each one of our brands ended up winning a medal, which
Dude,
not
that is
everybody
awesome.
does that. So that's we found that out about a week ago. The results were announced, so super pumped. Still riding that wave right now, but.
Dude, this is really good.
It is very good.
Yeah, delicious.
Yeah.
I've got a good tequila pro tip for you. You guys are getting into
Okay.
tequila. This is the next thing I do once I figure out the agave. You don't even taste it first, and it's not rude to do this if you know tequila, especially down in Mexico. So the first thing before I even taste it, I dip my finger in the tequila and then rub them together. You can feel additives. If it turns sticky or tacky, there's additives for flavor and color. That's going to give you the hangover. So real tequila, you don't get a hangover. We tried it last night.
No
It didn't.
shit.
So real tequila should feel like aloe vera. It should feel like lotion.
I
It
can
should
feel
silky.
the silky smooth.
It should feel silky. The other thing is the sugars in agave aren't white sugar. It doesn't break down into an ethanol like vodka. So real tequila doesn't evaporate like a vodka, so it should still be on your finger too. So those are two things I look for. I rub it on my finger to see if it evaporates, and then I look at my finger to see if it's sticky, and I look at my finger to see if it evaporates. If it evaporates, they've used white sugar in the distillation process. That's also going to give you a hangover.
Oh.
So super clean. It's just agave. And agave, I don't know if you guys know, the piñas are massive, the agave plant. But whenever you're harvesting it, it's almost identical to distilling rum, because when you squeeze the leaves together, it's like honey that comes out. So you're just distilling honey. That's all real tequila. Like I said, there's maybe 6 tequilas. Like I can go to the shelf. We were talking to the guys last night. We can go to the shelf and be like, there's 2 or 3 every time. I'm like, I know that farm and I know that distillery, and those are good. That's good. But 97% of the tequilas still have white sugar or still have additives in it. And that's what you want to do. So you can test it that way.
That is pretty cool.
I love that little tip.
I'm going to start doing this now, dipping my finger in my drinks.
I'm going to do it to random people at the bar.
Yeah.
Can you get this in Idaho now?
So you can get the Blanco. The Blanco's in all the state stores.
Okay.
And some of the bars are picking up. We were at Nashville North last night. They're going to come on and help us. They were big.
Oh,
veteran
nice.
First responder place.
Yep.
They were really nice to us, man. That's where we were. And then the Repo and Añejo are on special order, so we have to. We're still working with the Yale State Board here to get it in the state. But
Yeah, you could order the Repo and the Añejo, but it'll take about a month in Idaho. Right now, at this point, hopefully by the time
you guys are the only ones with.
Well, I will place an order because I love having good tequila, and dude, that is awesome.
Yeah, it's tasty stuff for sure.
My broker, who's one of my business partners, loves Don Julio 1942. What's your take?
There's a reason they're getting sued right now.
Yeah, I've
a big lawsuit going on.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, because they add a lot of additives to their tequila.
Oh well, see, now I'm gonna have to throw that at him. So yeah, he loves that. He loves making margaritas, but which one is he allowed to make margaritas with? None? Or
Yeah,
he can do it with that one.
Yeah, Blanco's usually the go-to for something like that.
Okay.
Like personally, I'm a Blanco guy. all the way, dude. I like drinking this on ice on the rocks. What's really good, what's really cool too, whenever you get super clean tequilas, is you just need really simple ingredients. You don't no sugar. Think like if you have a good tequila and the ingredients need sugar in it, then it's a shitty tequila. So if you use any ingredients with a good tequila, there should be no added honey or agave syrup or margarita mix. It's got to be really, really simple. So like with this one, especially when we're on the boat, hot days, like when it gets hot here in the summer, dude, if you do half Blanco and half fresh coconut water on ice, we call it a blue water cowboy.
That's good. It is good.
It's
Blue water
awesome.
cowboy. Okay.
It's super refreshing, hydrates you. You know, it's really freaking good. And then another one that we do, we call it the skeleton crew, because the skeleton crew is the minimum crew required to operate a boat or a thing at a time.
Okay.
So we call it a skeleton crew margarita after the nonprofit. And it's just 2 ounces of Cape Horn Blanco, 2 ounces triple sec, and an ounce of lime. Shake it over ice. Ooh. That's as close to a margarita I would get.
So I know we're kind of getting close here, and I want to touch on something. So on the back of your bottles, because a lot of the people that follow us are veterans, and this thing go all the way on. There we go. So it says each bottle sold directly contributes to funding outdoor adventure therapy expeditions for veterans and first responders living with PTSD. Love it. So super cool. We want to support this. I think that's awesome. And with this, you know, we have some people that are coming on pretty soon. Former first responder buddy of mine that went through some PTSD, and now he actually owns an equine therapy place, right? So we're gonna go through it, and I have no idea what to expect, right? Like, because there's part of me, it's like I don't understand. I don't know if I'm gonna laugh. I don't know if I'm crying. I'm like, I have no idea. But he's like, dude, it's crazy. It's amazing what it does. I don't see the translation yet, but I'm excited to go try it out. But when you say that this works with outdoor adventures, are there certain people that are signed up with you? Are there people that, like I have a buddy that does expeditions for first responders up here and fly fishing. Is there a way they can get in contact to help, help with having more resources for you or anything else like that?
Yeah. So the nonprofit is called Skeleton Crew Adventures.
Okay.
Best way to get a hold of us is on our website, skeletoncrewadventures.org. Everything is there. We got a form you got to fill it out to the best you can. We're all veterans or first responders. A lot of our skippers are actually still active. They got out of the Marine Corps and now they work for Houston Police Department. Okay. So we see a lot of first responders. We do a lot of work with the fire department down there, and just fill it out, man. Like I remember when I was asking for help, and it'd be like 10 pages of bullshit I need to fill out to get accepted. We don't care, dude. Like, the time give me something that shows that you served in some way. You know, it could be a tattoo, and your buddy calls me and says he was actually in. That's fine. That's enough. And especially if you need to reach out, and more so if like spouses, because they're usually the first ones to see it and call you on your bullshit because they live with you every day. Yep. And those are I'd say about 60% of the emails we get are from spouses that are like, we've tried everything. So hit us up on the email, and we've got a massive network too. So if like sailing's not your thing, but you don't know where to start or where to go, just like it's us. You know, we'll help you. We'll find.
See, dude, that's the right place. When you talk about sailing, I'm like, man, I would love to go out and try something like that.
I'd love that.
Yeah. And it's hard because I told my wife, I'm like, she's always asked like, are you going to go to therapy at any point? Are you ever going to go talk with somebody? And I'm like, well, I'd love to, but I'm not going to go talk to a shrink. I'm not going to go talk to somebody like that. Do you know why? Because I don't trust them. You have to know where somebody came from, and somebody that read a book doesn't help me. I'm not comfortable. We have more therapy when me and him, go for an hour drive together.
1,000%.
Just talking.
That's
right.
What it is, dude. That's exactly what it is.
Right. So when you have people that understand that, then you can really let some stuff out. But outside of that, I'm like, no, I'm not going to go talk to that person who has a PhD. I don't care. It just doesn't. I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
So
how much better are you after a night around a campfire with your buddies?
Oh,
how much happier are you when you go home to your kids? Like, that's exactly what adventure therapy is.
Yep.
When you're with people who went through the same thing, and you're sitting there under the stars, and you're like, everybody understands exactly what you went through, and everybody loves you and wants to be there for you. And you're fucking giving each other shit, too. I think that's the other biggest thing, is you're in an environment with a bunch of dudes. Like, if you're being a bitch, Adam's going to say it. Like, he says it to me all the time, probably every day. As soon as I wake up in the morning, he's like,
told him
Taylor,
right
you're
before
being
we
a
walked
fucking
in
bitch,
here.
dude.
Stop being
You need people to do that, because the civilian population is not going to do that for you.
Yeah, that's great.
We're pretty relentless on one another. So it's a lot of fun. In fact, to tell you it real quick, I said, the constant badgering and the embarrassment in front of other people too. You're just like, you mother.
Oh yeah.
Like I had some clients, I'd never met them. I took them out where I was driving them around. Nicest people. They're up here again, luckily because they were okay with it. They like us. But I go out to my car. I take them on this drive. We spent a couple hours together. They really like us. We get out, and the wife gets out, and she looks down at my tire. She looks down at my tire and my valve stem. Somebody screwed a little dick on there. And she's like, is that a penis? And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like,
Sure is.
I am so sorry, ma'am. I come in and nobody's claimed it. I still don't know who did it.
It wasn't me.
But it's that funny stuff
beautiful,
where
but
it's
it
like
wasn't
you
me.
almost put each other in these awkward positions and you
want
just
to
have
take
fun.
credit for it, but you can't.
Yeah, I know.
I would.
But I'm like,
So
you got to
good.
be kidding me, dude. I'm
So
like, well, welcome to our team. If you come back, you come back. If you don't, you don't. I don't know what else to say. So this is who we are.
That's great.
Oh shit.
That's a good
But this
story.
is super cool, and I hope we can keep contact with you guys. I'm glad that we put this
Seriously.
together last minute because this is stuff that I'm passionate about, and it's neat when a lot of people look at it, oh, they're just selling tequila. I think it's way more than that. It's about people. You know what? People are going to go drink alcohol. That's kind of something that people do. And to be able to continue to build a network of people that love first responders, that want to help with something, that are contributing to normal day life, that do things that are difficult, right? That have the background and the experience. That stuff is huge. That's what builds a community. And that's something that you'll notice about North Idaho. Seth always says it. We don't have stats for it necessarily, but he argues that this is the highest concentration of retired first responders and veterans in the country. And for that reason alone, it's amazing to me when people like you come to town and you start meeting people and you're like, man, this is a great community.
Yeah.
It is.
People love servants' hearts. They love good people up here. They love good character, and they have a respect for people that have served and gone through the same stuff. So very cool to see what you guys are doing.
Boom. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming out. We'll wrap it up. Adam and Taylor, Cape Horn Tequila. And check out the movie Hell or High Seas. That's going to be a good one.
Thanks,
And my kids watch it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having
guys.
us.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Don't
you guys
let your
hosting
kids
us.
watch it.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Our kids are older.
I don't know,
Oh,
dude.
okay.
I'm pretty sure my son's going to be watching
They're
it
not,
with
they're
me
not
for
little.
sure.
Yeah, we
They'll be
got
all right.
older teens. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. He
Cool.
needs it.
Thank you guys. Let's
Awesome.
connect again next time you're back in town.
Absolutely.
Cool.
We'll be back.
All right.
You got it.
Later.